Good evening and welcome to City University of Hong Kong and our symposium NODEM 212, Future Culture, Intangible, Tangible Heritage, Design and Cross-Media. My name is Sarah Kenderdine. I'm the co-chair for Future Culture and the organizer of the keynotes and exhibitions program of this symposium. The organizing committee and I are very pleased to have so many distinguished guests, speakers, and participants at tonight's reception. I would like to introduce the officiating guests for this evening, Professor Arthur Ellis, the Provost of City University, Professor Paul Kamek, Director of the Hong Kong Advanced Institute for Cross-Disciplinary Studies, Mr. Gabriel Yu, Chairperson of the Friends of Dung Wan, Hong Kong, Dr. Helena Gottlieb, founder of NODEM, Dr. Wang Zudong, Deputy Director of the Dung Wan Academy, and Dr. Harry Verweyen, Business Manager of Europeana. Throughout museums and galleries worldwide, new media technologies are allowing practitioners the opportunity for cultural innovation and knowledge transformation. These technologies have been coupled to cultural and natural heritage, resulting in new ontologies, heritage practices, and an unprecedented emergence of theoretical and practical challenges. We must understand this context as an invitation to experiment and to continue working on the impossibility of the perfect interface. Your presence tonight is the occasion for us to celebrate this endeavor. The symposium Future Culture is a result of an international collaboration between City University, NODEM, and the Interactive Institute of Sweden, the Digital and Tangible Heritage of Asia DIHA initiative at the Nanyang Technology University in Singapore, and Museums and the Web from the United States of America. So on behalf of the co-chairs, Dr. Helena Gottlieb and Dr. Dagde Stuedal, together with the co-chairs of the inaugural DIHA, Dr. N.B. Chin, and the co-chairs of the inaugural Museums and the Web Asia, Dr. Nancy Proctor and Mr. Rich Cherry. The symposium has been made possible through our generous sponsors, the United States of America Consul General Macau and Hong Kong, Dijiang Tang, the Hong Kong Science Technology Park, Hong Kong Art Gallery Association, and Swissnex. And at City U, the enabling contributions of the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, the School of Creative Media, the Department of Chinese Translation and Linguistics, and the Research Office as the bedrocks that make this symposium possible. So there's much to see and do here tonight, and without further preamble from me, Professor Arthur Ellis, I invite you to take the floor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of City University of Hong Kong, I too would like to welcome you to the symposium NODEM Hong Kong 2012, Future Culture, Intangible Heritage, Design, Cross-Media. We're honored to have in attendance guests from more than 24 countries, representing a diverse cross-section of museums, universities, institutes, libraries, archives, as well as industry and nonprofit cultural organizations. I do extend my welcome to the NODEM co-chairs, Dr. Helena Gottlieb, Dr. Dagny Stuedal, Dr. N.B. Chin, and the Museums and the Web co-chairs, Dr. Nancy Proctor and Mr. Rich Cherry, whose generosity makes it possible for us to host two special sessions, the inaugural Digital Intangible Heritage of Asia and the inaugural Museums and the Web Asia. I also want to acknowledge Professor Sarah Kenderdine and her co-organizers, all who were involved in putting this together. Let's give them all a round of applause. City University of Hong Kong is tackling challenges initiated by the seminal 2006 Hong Kong conference titled New Heritage, beyond verisimilitude. In the coming days, Future Culture will offer expanded and transdisciplinary visions for the museums of the future using digital techniques. Never before has Hong Kong hosted such a large international gathering of senior museum practitioners, directors, senior decision makers, academics, and students in dialogue on these topics. And the symposium is especially timely in light of Hong Kong's West Kowloon Cultural District and the rapid expansion of new museums in China. At present, China has over 3,000 museums, and it's a number that has doubled, more than doubled, since 1995, and I understand that nearly 100 more museums are opened each year. As Asia's world city, Hong Kong is poised to become a regional hub for cutting-edge exhibition design, innovative technology, and knowledge transfer. Tonight, we inaugurate Future Culture with tours of the groundbreaking installations, eCloud, the 2 Pure Land projects, and Tunnels by media artist Professor Maurice Benayoun, who's recently joined our staff. These projects highlight the university's cutting-edge research in immersive and interactive technologies, as well as our commitment to collaborative partnerships, forging the marriage of cultural heritage and new media. The 3D installation eCloud is a visualization of crowdsourced First World War data sets made possible by sponsorship from Europeana in collaboration with City University of Hong Kong's Center for Applied Computing and Interactive Media, ASIM, and the Applied Laboratory for Interactive Visualization and Embodiment, ALIVE. I would like to also acknowledge Mr. Harry Verweyen, the business manager of Europeana, who joins us this evening. The 2 Pure Land installations inside the Mogok Grottos at Dun Muang and Pure Land Augmented Reality Edition are sponsored by Mr. Gabriel Yu, who is here with us this evening and who will speak in detail about the greater meaning of this work. ALIVE, in partnership with Dr. Wang Hudong and the Friends of Dun Muang, the Dun Muang Academy, the Friends of Dun Muang Hong Kong, produced the 360-degree 3D experience of one cave at this UNESCO heritage site. The generosity of Mr. Yu and the Friends of Dun Muang Hong Kong makes it possible for everyone to journey into Cave 220 and see exquisite paintings up close on a 1-to-1 scale. And some of you may know that Pure Land has recently been exhibited at the Smithsonian Institution, and Dean Jeffrey Shaw is also with us tonight, and it's receiving rave reviews. So this is clearly something that's capturing the public's imagination. Tonight, there are many other important CityU collaborators present, and I want to extend my warmest thanks to Dr. Susan Hazan, who's at the Israel Museum, Jerusalem, and has provided internships for CityU cultural heritage management students. Most recently, these students undertook the translation of the Dead Sea Scrolls into Chinese as part of a Google project, thus contributing to the online dissemination of this priceless cultural treasure in digital form. I also want to acknowledge Mr. Tim Hart from Museum Victoria, a CityU partner since the establishment of ALIVE, who's enabled many valuable projects. We're currently working with the Hong Kong Maritime Museum, reopening at Pier 8 here in Hong Kong in early 2013, which will include 2 inspirational new works by ALIVE and ASIM, using the museum's unique early 19th century scroll painting depicting the pacifying of the South China Sea pirates. Director Richard Wesley will speak about this tomorrow. In connection with the Maritime Museum project, we're pleased to welcome Professor Ide Ektasabi from Kyoto University, whose revolutionary laser scanning techniques enabled the 18-meter scroll painting to be scanned at an unparalleled 1200 DPI. Don't miss Professor Ide's presentation tomorrow afternoon and his demonstration during the live reception and tour tomorrow night. City University of Hong Kong celebrates these remarkable partnerships, and during NODEM Hong Kong 2012, we look forward to forging new relationships and exploring new frontiers. One of our initiatives at City University has been to create something we call the International Transition Team Scheme. It allows colleagues like yourselves or others you may know to come to City U and spend a semester to a year working with us on research and teaching at this institution. And any of my colleagues and I would be happy to tell you more about it. So let me wish all of you a great conference. If there's anything my colleagues and I can do to help make your visit more productive and enjoyable, please don't hesitate to call on us. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ellis. Gabriel Yu, can I now ask you to take the floor?
Thank you, Sarah. Professor Ellis, Professor Cameron, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome all of you to City U and the NODEM 2012 Future Culture Symposium. As the name suggests, this is a gathering of world-class theologists, practitioners, technologists, and museum professionals to exchange ideas on how to use new and cutting-edge creative technologies in the coming years to showcase cultural heritage. I can't wait to listen to some of your talks over the next 3 days, to learn more about new ideas and cutting-edge technology developments in this exciting area. At the same time, I'm extremely honored to have this opportunity to talk to you about Dunhuang and Pure Land projects. But before I do so, please allow me to acknowledge our friends and collaborators on the Dunhuang projects. First, Professor Wang Xudong, the Deputy Director of the Dunhuang Academy. He will be speaking to us tomorrow morning. Second, I would like to pay tribute to City U, particularly to Professor Ellis, to Professor Jeffrey Shaw, Professor Sarah Kennedy, for allowing us to use this splendid facility. And finally, but not the least, to thank all members of the officiating committee for all their hard work. Let me begin by saying a little bit about Dunhuang. Although some of you may not be too familiar with this name Dunhuang, but no doubt you will hear a lot more about it tomorrow. Among the honorable speakers, I know that Ms. Susan Whitfield, who is a world-class expert on Silk Road studies, will give you a good perspective on the Dunhuang in the Silk Road context. At the same forum, there's Professor Wang Xudong, who will tell us a lot more about, and with greater authority, about Dunhuang and the case. Later on this evening, Professor Kennedy and Professor Shaw will show us the making of Pure Land, apart from arranging the tours for all of us to attend. To describe Dunhuang in a nutshell, this ancient and distant place was for over 1,000 years the nexus of the Silk Road. It was a very important center for east-west trade, and along with trade and commerce, a melting pot of peoples, cultures, and customs. The caves or grottos were carved out from the mountainside in Dunhuang to serve not only as Buddhist monasteries, but also to provide resting sojourns for the weary travelers at the start or the end of their long journey on the Silk Road. In return, these commercial travelers made donations or offerings for their safe return from the long and at times perilous crossings of the vast desert. Also, noblemen and rulers in the neighboring regions gave money as religious offerings and patrons. Such donations were used to hire painters and sculptors to create these marvelous murals and sculptures since 1600 years ago. Most of the caves in Dunhuang are located in Macau. They total 492. These caves are an art treasure trove, abounded with murals and hand-molded clay sculptures of savior gods and saints to tell stories of Buddhist scripts and teachings. Some of them also depict the daily life and customs of people who live in the region or who came to visit there. In terms of number, size, and historical breadth, Macau caves serve as the finest example of Buddhist art. To those who are interested in Dunhuang from a different perspective, there's much to be gleaned from studying the murals too. Since 1987, the Dunhuang caves have become designated as a UNESCO Cultural Heritage Site. The Pure Land projects we all have a chance to see this evening have two components. The Pure Land inside the Macau caves, Macau grottos at Dunhuang, and the Pure Land augmented. They were jointly developed by the Applied Laboratory for Interactive Visualization at CTU and the Dunhuang Academy. They also have the support of Friends of Dunhuang Hong Kong, which is a non-profit making organization established since 2010 by a group of like-minded individuals who got together in an effort to save Dunhuang's fast disappearing art treasure. In the past couple of years, we managed to raise over 10 million renminbi, which is the equivalent of 1.6 million US dollars from friends and the general public in Hong Kong. 100% of these monies, without any administrative deductions, directly go to the Dunhuang Academy for the preservation and safeguarding the murals and to improve the environment. Another function we carry out at Friends of Dunhuang, Hong Kong, is to monitor and report back to the donors of the progress of work on a semi-annual basis. This is to ensure that the money is spent in accordance with the stipulated wish of the donors. Our executive committee is made up of professionals, business people, and academics, so that we know how to function efficiently and effectively as an independent controller of donations. Such donations, by the way, are tax exempted from the Hong Kong government. So far, Dunhuang has either started in the works or completed 15 caves, with many more in the pipeline. To complete all digitization work of the most important 120 caves among them, it's estimated that more than 100 million renminbi will be needed to be raised. As the murals are too fragile, most of them won't last for another 500 years or less. Hence, we reckon that the most urgent thing to do is to complete all digital images of the caves. In addition to fundraising, the Friends of Dunhuang Hong Kong want to raise a general awareness of the public, particularly our young people, about the importance of safeguarding our cultural heritage and the environmental protection. The majority of the people will never have a chance to go and see Dunhuang, so we hold regular exhibitions, and lectures to introduce Dunhuang arts, culture, and on environmental protection. In this area, we have the support of our collaborator, the Dunhuang Academy, for sharing their data, research findings, and expert knowledge with us. Dunhuang Academy has an extensive research program in imaging, laser scanning, digitization at the site. Apart from its managing the site and also providing docents, with a full-time staff of 600 people funded by the central government in China. In order to minimize damage caused by commercial tourism, the Dunhuang Academy only opens up between 20 to 30 cases at any one time to the general public, but whose numbers keep growing year after year and are projected to triple or quadruple by the year 2015. At the same time, for those who are lucky enough to get in, it's hard for them to get a clear view of everything inside, as they're only allowed to stay for a short while and can only use a light torch to illuminate a small part of the caves. However, even with such precautions, the carbon dioxide emission of human body, human breath, and body temperature of the visitors can accelerate the mural's irrevocable deterioration. The Dunhuang Academy in recent years have installed a monitoring system that will automatically shut down the cave should the carbon dioxide content and or ambient temperature exceed the acceptable limits. And indeed, many caves have to be shut down temporarily each day during the visitors' peak season. Thus, there's an obvious tension between the desire to show this rich and important treasure trove to the world and the ongoing concern to protect them. The dilemma faced by the cultural custodians can only be partially resolved through new technologies and virtual facilities such as the Pure Land, which will allow users to spend less time in each cave, but at the same time give them a much better understanding of the contents, since they can watch any part of the cave at 1-to-1 or even higher magnifications. I firmly believe this is the only viable way going forward at Dunhuang. Pure Land inside the Mongol grottos at Dunhuang is a good example of how research institutions, cultural heritage sites, and NGOs can work together to create something important and new for all of us to see. Pure Land was produced by city youth alive. 30 people contributed to this project in various capacities over 6 months. These specialists include world-leading authorities on the Macau case from the Dunhuang Academy. Based on their advice and art direction, the project's team of artists and animators were able to redraw, restore, and recolor key iconographic elements in the wall painting and create 3D animated objects and dance sequences. Pictorial and digital artists, interaction and sound engineers, as well as software engineers, got together to implement the scenography based on the interpretive script developed in close consultation with the project sponsor and partners. The response to the Dunhuang exhibition has been overwhelming. 3,000 people saw it in its first 3 weeks of public showing and there's been a strong public demand for a permanent show. The new augmented reality version was a leading highlight at both the Hong Kong Art Fair and currently at the Shanghai Biennale, drawing thousands of people each day. Professor Jeffrey Shaw also told me that the 360-degree 3D version has become a major draw at the 25th year celebration events at the Freer Sackler Gallery at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. that opened just 5 days ago. For now, it's the intention of the Dunhuang Academy with more funding to do many more cases in a similar way. CityU will be training staff from the Academy in all aspects of production process. Dunhuang has already planned for a permanent on-site presentation to be opened by May next year. It will have 5 cases to start with, but will soon increase to over 15 or 20 cases so that visitors will find it worthwhile to see just the augmented reality shows on their own merits. In conclusion, Pure Land provides a new way of thinking about the creation of powerful cultural experiences for the general public. It also provides a new set of tools for museum exhibitions because of the ease and relatively low cost of installation. It's a leading example of facilitating public outreach while safeguarding the endangered cultural heritage. It's an example of new modes of preserving such heritage sites worldwide that are under threat from climate change, wars, tribal conflicts, and overexploitation by commercial tourism. Finding solutions for these problems through education and engagement can help people understand the need of safeguarding them. The techniques and tools to do this and the creative methods and process to interpret the cultural artifacts and heritage are exactly why we are all gathered here tonight and for the following few days. I wish you all a very successful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabriel. This is the end of the official ceremony, so I will invite the officiating guests for a photo.